Harley-Davidson just had their third quarter business update call, and stock prices were dropping like a lead balloon immediately after the call. In fact, it's the lowest it's been in 3 years. Still not as low as when the last CEO suddenly left the helm. I have 7 things you need to know from the call, and 2 important points that I think Harley-Davidson is still in denial of. One is related to Livewire, and it might explain why stockholders are concerned about investing in Harley-Davidson. It's important to understand when looking at these slides that Harley-Davidson reports on 3 business lines. HDMC is the Harley-Davidson branded motorcycle business, including motorcycle sales, parts and accessories, apparel, and licensing. HDFS is the financial arm that deals with financing motorcycle sales. And lastly is the Livewire, the electric motorcycle arm of the company. HDI refers to the combined results of all 3 business lines. 1. Let's jump right into revenue for Q3. HDMC revenue was down 9% due to a decrease in wholesale shipments. HDFS was up 15% thanks to higher interest income, and Livewire was down 45%. 45%. We're going to talk more about Livewire specifically in a minute. As a result, HD was down 6% total in Q3. Operating income was down for all 3 units, resulting in a 38% decrease over Q3 from the previous year. Remember, revenue is before expenses and income is after. So while income is down considerably in Q3, they still reported $200 million in net income for Q3. 2. Year-to-date revenue will give us a larger picture on how Harley-Davidson is trending so far in 2023. HDMC is actually up 2% compared to last year, with global pricing and improved mix offsetting the lower wholesale motorcycle unit shipments, according to the CEO. HDFS revenue is up 17% and Livewire is down a whopping 39%. Year-to-date operating income is pretty flat compared to the previous year for HDMC, but HDFS was down 30% compared to the previous year, and Livewire continues to bleed money like a stuck pig with year-to-date operating income loss of $82 million. 3. Retail motorcycle sales is down double digits for Q3 across every market, resulting in a 16% decline worldwide. Now, Polaris delivered their third quarter report earlier this week, and to be fair, it should be noted that they were also reporting that retail was down low teens, and they acknowledged heavyweight bikes were seeing more pressure than the mid-size industry. What was interesting was that Harley-Davidson indicated the sunsetting of the traditional Harley-Davidson Sportster hurt sales, and they believe the Revolution Max platform is the way forward and will eventually gain popularity. The CEO mentioned CVO retail sales up 25% with new features aligning with consumer preferences, and that trike and softails were up 12% in Q3. What Harley-Davidson did not say is that touring models were up. This is one of the most profitable and most popular families in the lineup, but also more expensive than the softails. I've said it before, some buyers, like me myself, are going to be in a holding pattern, waiting for the new features from the CVO line to filter down to more affordable touring models. I think this could drive Harley-Davidson to bring those features to the more affordable models sooner rather than later, and risk reduced sales in the touring line for another year or 2. Multiple times during the call, Harley-Davidson blamed the dip in sales for Q3 on the economy and because they didn't have the right mix of products for dealers to sell in Q3 due to the plant shutdown in June and July. I do believe the economy and higher interest rates are causing buyers to be more cautious about discretionary spending. I attended 3 major motorcycle rallies during the third quarter, and sales were down this year at all of them. But not once did anyone say, "We just don't have the models available that buyers are looking for." I've heard more complaints about the lack of desirable models at the beginning of the year than I did during Q3. Sources I've talked to that deal with retail sales also feel that there was more of a lack of those desirable models earlier in the year than there was during Q3. 4. Dealer inventory in Q3 was up 150% over Q3 from the previous year. So it seems hard to believe that sales were down that much based on not having the right mix on the dealer floors. I feel Harley-Davidson is acknowledging the effect the economy is having on sales, but downplaying the extent of it. Having the right mix of products in inventory is something they can sell stakeholders as being fixable, where the effect the economy is having on sales is harder for them to control. When questioned about higher inventory levels of 2022 during the Q&A portion of the call, Harley-Davidson executives said the higher levels are necessary as consumers are being more demanding about what models they're willing to purchase, and that this is now the correct approach. These higher inventory levels are a stark difference than the approach Harley-Davidson took in 2020 through 2022, where the focus was on controlling inventory and reducing the number of units on hand. During the call, Harley-Davidson did announce that they have switched production over to the model year 2024. They said the reason they change over to the 2024 models early was so that they could get more 2024 models out at the beginning of Q1 next year. I did hear complaints from consumers about models not being available early in the year, so I think this is a good move to help with sales in Q1 and Q2 of 2024. 5. HDFS had an increase in revenue for Q3 due to higher interest income, but also had an increase in expense that resulted in a 27% decrease in income from the previous year, largely due to an increased provision for credit losses and higher interest expenses. 6. Livewire. This is the first of two items that I feel Harley-Davidson is still in denial about. Unit sales in Q3 were 50 units, down from 206 units sold in 2022 in the same time period. Year to date, Livewire has sold 146 units in 2023. In the first 3 quarters of 2022, they sold 528 units. The question in my mind was, were there no units available to sell? Or were buyers simply not interested in buying the more expensive Livewire 1 model, knowing the more affordable Del Mar model is coming? Or maybe just since consumers are more price conscientious and being more careful about discretionary spending with the economy being what it is, that they simply weren't as concerned about supporting EV products right now. The CEO of Livewire confirmed the Del Mar models have started shipping, and the bulk of the pre-orders should be delivered in Q4, which still has a predicted sales of 600 to 1,000 units in 2024. I personally will be amazed if they can sell another 450 units to reach the 600 units by the end of 2023. And to hold HD accountable for their previous predictions, I want to remind everybody, at the end of Q1 this year, the prediction was 750 to 2,000 units, which they downgraded as new goals at the end of Q2. In my opinion, Harley-Davidson's track record on electric has been incredibly optimistic or inaccurate, depending on how you want to look at it. Back in 2020, when Livewire was being positioned to be spun off as its own company and business segment, Harley-Davidson expected Livewire sales in 2022 to be 957 units and over 7,000 units for 2023. In reality, 2022 sales were 597, just over half of the predicted units. And in 2023, even if they hit the unbelievable goal of 1,000 units, it will still be less than 15% of what they predicted 3 years ago. These unrealistic expectations could explain why investors pulled out of Livewire after it was spun off, leaving Harley-Davidson to hold a much larger share of Livewire than was originally intended. With the lack of growth in the EV market, I think Harley-Davidson is making bad business decisions to continue down this road. I don't think the technology is there for EV motorcycles to be practical except as an urban commuter. And until that changes, I don't think Harley-Davidson can afford to continue this attempt to lead in electric. Honda is by far the largest motorcycle brand in the world when looking at global sales. They can actually afford to lead in electric, but yet have not chosen to. Maybe because the technology doesn't make financial sense yet. 7. Harley-Davidson dealers are the second thing I feel the motor company is in denial about. Harley-Davidson mentioned in the call how the dealer network gives them a huge competitive advantage. And I agree with that. But in my experience, the dealer network can also do a great deal of harm to the brand. We've all heard or seen reports of dealers selling motorcycles for well over MSRP. To be fair, my local dealer is not one of those, And the dealers that I have bought Harley Davidsons from have always made me a good or great deal. I think Harley Davidson needs to investigate the reports of price gouging, where dealers are charging thousands of dollars over MSRP. I get dealers are independently owned and they can sell the bikes for whatever they want. I get that that's how capitalism works. I also get they are a licensed dealer and what they do reflects on the brand. If Harley Davidson can discourage dealers from selling bikes under MSRP, I'm pretty sure there's something they can do to discourage price gouging as well. I know expenses are up and sales are down, but dealers can't just keep raising the price per unit thinking that's going to solve the problem. Charging thousands over MSRP is not going to be the solution in the long run. Although it may pay the bills tomorrow, it's going to break the company next week or next month or next year, because sales are going to continue to decline as they continue to gouge on pricing in a tough economy. Harley Davidson's been running special financing promotions all summer, and they continue this month with offers like 1.99% APR on select new HD models. Do you think these kinds of promotions will help sales in this economy, or is pricing a bigger issue than financing and interest rates? Make sure to leave me a comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I really appreciate your support. Y'all stay safe and keep on riding. We'll see you in the next one.